In the shadows of unspoken truths, you stood alone. Your pain was witnessed but met with silence, a deafening silence that echoed through empty promises and averted gazes. Those who saw your struggle chose comfort over courage, leaving you to face the darkness without allies. They watched from a distance as storms gathered around you. They heard your cries but covered their ears. They knew the truth but sealed their lips. The very people who promised to stand beside you retreated to safety, leaving only their shadows where their presence should have been. Yet here you stand today, victorious despite it all. Not because of those who should have spoken up, but because of the fire within that refused to be extinguished. This triumph belongs solely to you, forged in resilience, tempered in solitude, and polished by the very tears they pretended not to see. This celebration isn't just about what you've overcome, it's about who you've become in spite of their silence. The victory tastes sweeter because you earned every moment of it alone. The world watched as you were wronged, and now they will watch. As you rise, transformed by the very trials they were too afraid to acknowledge. Their silence was not your ending. It was merely the blank page upon which you began to write your own story. When God decides to elevate you, three powerful forces activate in your life. First, He isolates you, not to punish, but to protect. That isolation you felt wasn't abandonment. It was a divine shield, separating you from those who would drain your purpose or dilute your calling. Second, He instills in you a supernatural dependence on His presence alone. Notice how the human supports you relied on dissolved. This wasn't coincidence. It was preparation. In your darkest moments, when no human hand reached out to steady you learned to grasp the unchanging hand of the divine. You discovered a strength beyond yourself, a wisdom not taught in any earthly classroom. Third, He reveals your true identity, one that exists beyond the opinions and limitations others have placed upon you. You are being called into the ranks of the 144,000, those chosen not for ease but for purpose, those marked not for comfort but for transformation, those selected not for popularity but for impact. Have you noticed how people grow uncomfortable in your presence now? How they shift their gaze, change their tone, or suddenly find reasons to distance themselves? They sense something they cannot name, the authority that now rests upon your shoulders. Your strength has become intimidating to those who remain weak by choice. Your resilience has become a mirror in which they see their own compromises reflected back at them. This discomfort is not your burden to bear. Their intimidation is not your failure. It is confirmation of your elevation. When people cannot handle your light, it is not because you shine too brightly. It is because they have grown too accustomed to darkness. Stand tall in this new authority. What was meant to destroy you has only defined you. What was intended to break you has only built you. And those who thought your isolation would be your downfall will witness it becoming your greatest triumph. The betrayal that blindsided you was written in the stars long before it manifested in your life. Remember those moments of unease, those fleeting instincts you dismissed as paranoia. Your spirit was trying to prepare you for what your mind couldn't yet comprehend. That prediction, that whisper of warning that tickled the edges of your consciousness, it has now materialized in full color. The very people who smiled widest in your presence were crafting your downfall behind closed doors. The hands that offered help were simultaneously digging pitfalls along your path. Why would they invest such energy in your demise? Because your authentic light exposes the fraudulence they've carefully constructed around themselves. Your natural gifts highlight their manufactured personas. Your genuine journey makes their pretense impossible to maintain. The evidence has now surfaced that money actually changed hands. Actual currency exchanged with the explicit purpose of sabotaging your progress, dismantling your reputation, and derailing your destiny. This was no casual betrayal. This was calculated, coordinated, commissioned. And those karmic relationships that seemed so promising, Those connections that felt destined, they were tests, not destinations. When the pressure mounted, they walked away. When standing with you required courage, they chose cowardice. When loyalty demanded sacrifice, they protected their comfort instead. But here's what your saboteurs failed to understand. What is divinely ordained cannot be humanly obstructed. The very obstacles they placed in your path have become stepping stones, elevating you to heights you might never have reached on level ground. Their resistance has only strengthened your spiritual muscles. Their rejection has only clarified your direction. Let them scheme, let them sabotage, let them satisfy their jealousy with temporary victories. What awaits them is the unavoidable law of reaping what they've sown. What awaits you is the unshakable promise of divine vindication. Few will understand the magnitude of what you've been facing. While they see surface-level challenges, you've been contending with organized opposition, a systematic effort to suppress your light and silence your voice. Yes, what you've sensed is real. There are indeed forces operating like a secret society against your elevation, but what weapon can prosper against one who is divinely shielded? What strategy can succeed against one who is celestially supported? None, not a single one. Open your sacred text to Psalm 74 and let its ancient words become your modern shield. But God is my King from long ago. He brings salvation on the earth. This scripture isn't just poetry, it's protection. It isn't just beautiful, it's bulletproof. The same power that created worlds is now creating a barrier between you and those who seek your downfall. This impossibly difficult chapter is reaching its conclusion. The narrative is shifting, the page is turning. What seemed like an endless winter is revealing its first signs of spring. Those seemingly insurmountable obstacles, they're about to become the foundation of your testimony. There were moments when continuing seemed impossible, when breathing felt like an act of defiance, when simply rising from bed required courage that legends are made of. You wondered if you had been abandoned by heaven itself. But all along, divine eyes were watching. Sacred hands were working. Eternal promises were being prepared for fulfillment. Persevere through these final moments of the storm. The impossible situation that looms before you, like an uncrossable ocean, is about to reveal its hidden pathway. The mountain that blocks your view of tomorrow is about to become the vantage point from which you'll see your promised land. The fire that threatens to consume you is actually purifying you for purposes beyond your current comprehension. Your opposition has been permitted, not to destroy you, but to develop you. Not to break you, but to build you. Not to derail you, but to direct you toward your true destiny. They say the truth will set you free, but most can't handle it. For the chosen ones in the Obsidian Inner Order, it's not just the truth, it's the whole cosmic download. No sugarcoating, no escape. Picture this: weekly group calls with 450 plus chosen ones, recorded and available anytime for your enlightenment. Our private Discord, it's not just active, it's alive, buzzing with ideas, breakthroughs, and that unstoppable chosen energy. Oh, and for you romantics out there, welcome to Chosen Singles, where soulmates meet under cosmic alignments, not cheap pickup lines. And for the seekers, dive into Modern Manifestation Mechanics, our exclusive grimoire, with 3 chapters available to members. Learn how to turn your home into an abundance magnet, master basic spellcraft for physical manifestation, and channel magical forces to elevate your goals. Plus, you'll get access to interviews with real targeted individuals and video specials so bold, the YouTube archons don't even want you to see them. This is more than a membership, it's a movement. So what are you waiting for? Stop searching, start ascending. The link is in the description. Now comes perhaps the most challenging directive of your journey. You must forgive. Not because your betrayers deserve forgiveness, not because their actions were justified, not even because forgiveness will change them. You must forgive because unforgiveness is a chain that binds you to the very people who sought to harm you. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the past, it's about freeing your future. It doesn't minimize their wrong. It maximizes your peace. It doesn't excuse their actions. It releases their power over your emotions. This isn't weakness. This is the ultimate act of spiritual warfare, cutting the invisible cords that keep you tethered to your pain. And here is the divine promise that makes forgiveness possible. Whatever was taken will be restored. Whatever was stolen will be returned, not just in equal measure, but multiplied. This is the spiritual law of divine restitution. The universe keeps perfect accounts, and your balance is about to be adjusted in your favor. Remember the dreams you reluctantly surrendered, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers, the relationships that dissolved, the property that was taken, the home that was lost, the reputation that was damaged. Divine restitution is coming for all of it, but be prepared. Restoration rarely looks identical to what was lost. God isn't merely replacing, He's upgrading. He's not just restoring, He's redirecting. What you receive may bear little resemblance to what was taken, because what's coming is aligned not with your past desires, but with your true purpose. That unexpected closed door that felt like rejection, it was protection. That painful redirection, that felt like failure, it was divine navigation. That relationship that didn't survive, it couldn't withstand the weight of your destiny. Your home, your property, your place of belonging, all of these will be restored in ways that will leave no doubt about divine intervention. What seemed permanently lost is simply being held in sacred safekeeping, gaining spiritual interest with every passing day. The return on your suffering is about to become evident, and its value will far exceed your investment of tears. The whispers are beginning. Can you hear them? Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. Your work is being discussed at tables you haven't yet been invited to. Recognition is on the horizon, not because you've sought the spotlight, but because light naturally attracts attention. New York, yes, specifically New York, figures prominently in this coming exposure. Perhaps it's a connection, an opportunity, a platform, or a person. Whatever form it takes, this New York link will serve as a pivotal point in your journey from obscurity to influence. Watch for it. Prepare for it. It's already in motion. And while you've stood alone in your defense, someone has been advocating for you behind the scenes. Someone with influence has recognized your authentic value and has been quietly creating pathways for your advancement. They've seen what others have missed. They've believed what others have doubted. And soon, their behind-the-scenes support will become public endorsement. As for those who betrayed you, the mask is slipping. The carefully constructed facade is cracking. What was done in darkness is being exposed to light. Each lie they told is unraveling. Each scheme they plotted is being revealed. Each false accusation is returning to its source. This exposure isn't happening because you sought revenge. It's occurring because truth has its own timeline. You don't need to orchestrate their downfall. You simply need to focus on your ascent. As you rise, their deception naturally becomes visible against the backdrop of your authenticity. The recognition coming to you isn't just about personal vindication. It's about divine validation. It's heaven's way of confirming what was whispered to your spirit during those lonely nights of tears and doubts. You were never forgotten, never abandoned, never overlooked. The spotlight now finding you was focused on you all along. It was simply waiting for the divine cue to illuminate your path. Look at yourself now. Really look. The person staring back at you in the mirror bears little resemblance to who you were before this refining fire. The challenges haven't just changed your circumstances, they've transformed your very essence. You've evolved from this level to this level, from survival to significance, from victim to victor, from wounded to warrior. This metamorphosis wasn't accidental. It was essential. The person you were could not carry the purpose you're destined for. The strength you now possess was forged in the very fires meant to destroy you. What's most remarkable isn't just that you survived, it's how you survived, with dignity intact, with compassion undiminished, with faith deepened rather than destroyed. This evolution reveals your divine DNA, your spiritual lineage. Not everyone emerges from such trials with their light still shining. Many become as dark as the darkness that engulfed them. This is why they're jealous. This is why they're intimidated. They witnessed your suffering, but never expected your transformation. They anticipated your breakdown, but never imagined your breakthrough. They watched for your surrender, but never prepared for your comeback. Your ability to stand alone has become both your superpower and their greatest fear. In a world where most require constant validation, your independence is revolutionary. In a culture that prioritizes fitting in, your authenticity is radical. In a society that worships appearance, your substance is subversive. You've become exactly who you were created to be, not despite the challenges, but because of them. The divine purpose encoded in your spirit has been activated through adversity. What was meant to be your destruction has instead become your construction. What was intended to be your grave has become your garden. This growth isn't finished. This transformation isn't complete. You're standing on the threshold of even greater evolution. The challenges were never the end of your story. They were merely the necessary chapters that prepared you for your true beginning. As your light increases, so must your vigilance. Spiritual elevation requires practical protection. Here are divine instructions for safeguarding your path forward. First, change your phone number. This isn't paranoia, it's prudence. The direct line of access that certain energies have had to your daily life must be severed. A new number creates a necessary boundary between your emerging self and those who knew only your former limitations. It's also a practical shield against potential fraud or manipulation from those who have already demonstrated their intentions. Second, guard your energy with the same diligence you would guard priceless treasure, because that's precisely what your energy is. During these challenging transitional times, maintain a positive internal environment regardless of external circumstances. Your thoughts are not mere responses to your environment. They are creators of your reality. Choose them with intention. Third, practice psychic protection daily. Psalm 91 isn't just scripture, it's spiritual technology. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Recite it. Meditate on it. Allow its ancient wisdom to create a modern force field around your spirit. This isn't superstition, it's supernatural strategy. Fourth, reconnect with nature. The natural world isn't just beautiful, it's restorative. The trees aren't just scenery, they're sanctuaries. The ocean isn't just water, it's wisdom. Spend time barefoot on the earth, allowing its healing frequencies to realign your energy. Sit beneath trees, absorbing their silent strength and rooted wisdom. Walk along water, letting its flowing persistence remind you of your own adaptability. These practices will elevate your vibration beyond the reach of lower energies that seek to entangle you. Like increasing your altitude above turbulent weather, raising your spiritual frequency places you above the storms that rage in lower consciousness. This isn't just protection, it's promotion to higher spiritual ground. Implement these practices not from fear, but from wisdom, not from paranoia, but from prudence. The path of light requires both spiritual illumination and practical implementation. Your growing influence necessitates growing intentionality about who and what has access to your sacred energy. The suffering wasn't without purpose. The isolation wasn't without reason. Through the furnace of affliction, your spiritual gifts have been activated and amplified. What was once a whisper of intuition is becoming a clear voice of inner knowing. What was once occasional insight is becoming consistent wisdom. You're experiencing an awakening to tree wisdom, that ancient knowledge that comes from being deeply rooted yet eternally reaching upward. The trees have always known the secret. Growth occurs silently, steadily, and often invisibly before manifesting in visible strength. Their wisdom is becoming your wisdom. Their patience is becoming your strategy. The divine feminine and masculine energies within you are achieving new harmony. The receptive, intuitive, nurturing aspects of your spirit are balancing with the active, analytical, protective dimensions. This internal harmony is creating external magnetism, drawing to you exactly what aligns with your highest good, while naturally repelling what doesn't serve your purpose. And yes, as whimsical as it might sound to the logical mind, magical fairy blessings are indeed assisting your journey. Those unexpected synchronicities, those perfect timing coincidences, those resources that appear precisely when needed. The curtain between seen and unseen realms is thinning around you, allowing subtle support to manifest in tangible ways. These emerging gifts aren't random, they're responsive. They're appearing specifically to equip you for your unique purpose. They're not being given for your gratification, but for your assignment. Each spiritual gift activating within you is a divine tool precisely calibrated for the work ahead. Guard these gifts from skeptical eyes. Nourish them in sacred silence until they're strong enough to withstand scrutiny. Not everyone deserves access to your spiritual unfolding. Some will attempt to rationalize away what they cannot understand. Others will try to regulate what they cannot control. Your deepening spiritual connection is between you and the divine, a sacred relationship that requires no external validation. The journey has been longer than you anticipated. The night has been darker than you imagined possible. The opposition has been fiercer than you were prepared for. Yet here you stand, still breathing, still believing, still becoming. Trust in divine timing, even when it seems excruciatingly slow by human standards. The universe isn't delaying your blessing, it's developing your capacity to receive and maintain it. What appears as waiting is actually preparation. What feels like divine hesitation is actually sacred precision. Perseverance isn't just continuing, it's continuing with purpose. It's not just enduring, it's enduring with expectation. It's not merely surviving each day, it's investing each moment with meaning. This quality, this stubborn refusal to surrender, your faith in the face of contrary evidence, this is what separates destiny from mere existence. Remember to care for yourself along this journey. Sacred purpose requires sacred rest. Divine assignment necessitates divine restoration. The same voice that calls you to greatness also invites you to stillness. The same power that propels you forward also provides you with necessary pauses. Treat yourself with the tenderness and care that reflects your true value. Prayer isn't just a religious exercise, it's relationship in its purest form. It's conversation with the Creator. It's communion with unconditional love. When words fail, when strength falters, when direction blurs, prayer creates a sanctuary within the storm. Not because it changes circumstances immediately, but because it changes you internally. What began in shadows is emerging in light. What started in tears is culminating in triumph. What felt like abandonment was actually appointment. The silence of those who should have spoken up has given way to the voice of your own divine authority. This is your moment, not just of vindication, but of vision, not merely of survival, but of significance, not simply of healing, but of wholeness. The fire meant to destroy you has only illuminated your path forward. The opposition intended to defeat you has only revealed your immeasurable strength. Rise now, not in arrogance, but in assurance, not in vengeance, but in vision, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Your story isn't just for you, it's for everyone watching from their own shadows, wondering if light is still possible. Your victory isn't just personal, it's prophetic, declaring that what God has done for one, He can do for all, from shadows to victory, from silence to significance, from wounded to warrior. This is your journey, this is your testimony, this is your triumph, and this is just the beginning.